Friends, let us hear some Vivekananda's words first. Vivekananda here is saying, my idea is to bring to the door of the meanest and the poorest the noble ideas that the human race has developed both in and out of India, and let them think for themselves. Whether there should be caste or not, whether women should be perfectly free or not, does not concern me. Liberty of thought and action is the only condition of life, of growth and well-being. Liberty of thought and action is the only condition of life, of growth and well-being. Where it does not exist, the man, the race or the nation must go down. Caste or no caste, creed or no creed, any man or class or caste or nation or institution which bars the power of free thought and action of an individual, even so long as that power does not injure others, is devilish and must go down. So he is emphasizing a lot on the power of free thought that every human being has and must exercise, must be able to exercise. And he is saying any person, institution or a nation or a society that does not allow an individual's freedom of thought or to exercise his or her power of free expression and free thought, they must go down. It is devilish, that is what he is saying. Here he is saying, my whole ambition is in life is to set in motion a machinery which will bring noble ideas to the door of everybody, and then let men and women settle their own fate. Let them know what our forefathers as well as the other nations have thought on the most momentous questions of life. Let them see specially what others are doing now, and then decide. We are to put the chemicals together. The crystallization will be done by nature according to her laws. Work hard, be steady, and have faith in the Lord. Set to work, I am coming sooner or later. Keep the motto before you, elevation of the masses without injuring their religion. Now, when he says elevation of the masses without injuring their religion, because at that point of time, the Christian missionaries were, even now, reportedly, but at that point of time, it was very rampant that the religion of the West, which is Christianity, so that used to go to various countries, and India included, and tell people that we would give you clothes, and they first take away those clothes and other riches of that nation, but then again they will say that we give you this if you follow this particular god or religion or book. So he was saying that elevation of the masses without injuring their religion, which means that we would be different in propagating this Vedantic religion without injuring their religion, which means without trying to have any converts, so-called converts, or from one register, if you take your name away from one register and go to the other register, if that is the conversion, or if you just take a bath and say I am now baptized, or I have now become the other religion, the follower of other religion, will that actually change the human being? That kind of conversion is not what we are expecting or aiming at. That is what he is making it very clear. So why I wanted to read this is, apart from the other points that we have touched upon, the main thing is my whole ambition in life is to set in motion a machinery which will bring noble ideas to the door of everybody. Okay. So the machinery that Vivekananda founded must be able to bring ideas to the door of everybody, whether they are the poorest or the meanest or the whoever it is, the underprivileged or anybody, which means everybody. Okay. Now for that, we think that if we publish books, that is enough, because the books go, the message go. I'm in support of that, but that is not enough. Now, books, people buy books because of good sentiment, and people earlier used to read the books that they bought. Nowadays they don't, and the reading culture is also not there. Of course, it is not our fault that they don't read books, or it is not our fault that they cannot process what they read or analyze and catch the spirit of Vivekananda. It is not our fault. But it is ultimately our responsibility to bring the noblest ideas to the door of the poorest and the meanest, and which means everybody. Okay. Now we need to first understand what are the noblest ideas that are existing in this world. So we have the faith that Vedantic ideas are the noblest ideas and most universal ideas. Fine. So Vedantic ideas are of strength and fearlessness, etc. We generally, Vedantic ideas means what we understand is that there are this triad of Brahman, Jiva and Jagat. So in the Vedantic ideas, we often and for the most part we talk about the Jiva Brahma Aikya ya Ekata. The relationship between the Jiva and the Brahman. All the Mahavakyas, for example, Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, I am Atma Brahma, all of these tell you the relationship between the Brahman and the Jiva. So we are focused on ourselves and God, who is Brahman. Okay. But what about the world? Why here is Vivekananda focused on the Jagat? Does he not know this Jagat is Maya? Does he not know that this Jagat is ephemeral, it is temporary, that it is worldly to think about the world? He knows perfectly well, but he always includes, this is just a small quotation, but if you keep reading, whenever I read Vivekananda, I see only one thing, but I'm amazed to understand over the years that people are not able to understand or get the same spirit that I got from Vivekananda when I read from Vivekananda. People are trying to understand, or people are getting different interpretations of what Vivekananda was saying all the time, and naturally so, because that is how the whole design of this world is built. Therefore, even if the books of Vivekananda reach to people, how do we ensure that all the people understand in the same way? That will be part of our jobs. Okay. Have we been able to recognize this problem? If so, then what are we going to understand? Because various religions develop with the same books, with the same Vivekananda's message. People see different interpretations. See, it is rarest to find people who actually want to imbibe the spirit of Vivekananda even after so much reach of the publications that we publish. After they are willing to imbibe the spirit, what do they actually do? Okay, for example, most people quote to me, Vivekananda. Whenever I say I'm a follower of Vivekananda, they say, yes, we also are followers of Vivekananda. He said, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. I'm happy, but what did he say afterwards? What did he say? Other than that, whatever he said is not in their minds. So a person who wants to commit a bank fraud also might think about these lines and want to fulfill that person's idea. Now this risk was there even when Vivekananda was alive, and it is not our fault. I understand perfectly well. But we need to be able to see what is happening in this world dynamically and also address those other issues that come along. Just like when Sri Ramakrishna taught everybody the same thing, one of the disciples, who is Vivekananda, he went to the other countries. He actually first roamed in this India on foot, and he had numerous experiences, and he developed a lot in the wanderings in the India before going to America. and then he wanted to go to America, and he understood what America is to a large extent, and then he started speaking. And there also it was a great learning experience for him also to see how his message is received. I mean, he was popular and all that is there, but he also, after a year or so, 2 years, he stopped, he paused, and then he checked back whether however the world is understanding from his words, whatever he was saying, is that how he wanted them to understand? Is that was the message actually being conveyed properly to the end user? Then he said, no, it is this message is going in a different way, and I don't want to talk to. Yes, I have been talking to hundreds and thousands of people from various parts of this vast country, which is almost 3 times the size of India. But is that what I want? I'm only introducing this message, and people are appreciating. Is that what we want, or we want something more? Then he wanted to go to Thousand Island Park, sit there for around a month or so with only people who are extremely receptive and who are willing to actually imbibe the spirit of this message, Vedantic message, and practice it in their lives. So whoever he got, the best of them, he invited them to the Thousand Island Park and spent with them, and he gave talks to them, and those are recorded in the book called Inspired Talks. Which means he also understands very clearly that even though we cater to the masses, we need people, we focus on the people who are sincere, and those kind of such sincere souls who want to actually implement and act accordingly in their lives, digest this kind of message, are very few in number at any point of time. Therefore, people would actually understand Vivekananda's or Vedanta's message, however much we try, only if their prarabdha karma, or whatever it's not prarabdha karma, I meant to say is only if their evolutionary stage has come to such a stage, their evolution has come to such a stage where this is possible, where it is possible for them to understand such message. That is not the work of one lifetime. So we have to understand that that it is not possible for us to fulfill all the mission of Vivekananda and Ramakrishna if we just reach to everybody. If we just reach to everybody through books, it is not enough. I'm not saying it is wrong or it is bad or anything like that. It is just not enough. Now, people may ask, who are you? How can you know that it is not enough? I was actually saying this, that Vivekananda, when I was answering this question, the answer comes shortly. Vivekananda, when he went to America and came back, the other disciples of Ramakrishna did not believe what he was saying. They did not believe Vivekananda so much so that one of the other disciples named Premananda, whom Sri Ramakrishna loved a lot, like anybody else, but also everybody was loved in a special way. So Vivekananda, against Vivekananda, Premananda went to door and distributed pamphlets saying that this Vivekananda has changed a lot, and this Vivekananda, we do not recognize this Vivekananda as the Vivekananda that we knew, and what he is saying has got nothing to do with Sri Ramakrishna's message, because Sri Ramakrishna always taught us that the only aim of the human life is to gain God realization, and to be able to talk to God, see God, enjoy in the God's presence, and then that's it. There is nothing else. But now Vivekananda is asking us to start monasteries, bring Western furniture inside, and work with the public with Jagat, that is Maya, and he's also saying let us open hospitals and work with flood relief and such things. These are all very strange things that he is saying. We believe that he has got spoilt by going to the West, etc. Now, that was the amount of opposition that Vivekananda himself got from his own people when he returned from the West. Because it was very clear. Even today, if you see what Sri Ramakrishna said from the books of books like Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna or Ramakrishna as we saw him, etc., or his biographies, you would never find Sri Ramakrishna asking Vivekananda or anybody to open hospitals or schools or do any kind of flood relief or do any of these things, right? But slowly, gradually, the other disciples of Sri Ramakrishna have come to realize that what Vivekananda is saying is in fact rooted in Sri Ramakrishna's message. You know what? Before Sri Ramakrishna passed away, right before he passed away, he asked every other disciple other than Vivekananda to be in his room, and he asked Vivekananda to go out of the room, and he told everybody else to follow Vivekananda. Narendra means Vivekananda. He categorically told them very clearly that Vivekananda is your leader. Whatever he says, know that is what I am saying. This is what he told to all the others when Vivekananda was not in his room. And he asked the others to go out and then ask Vivekananda to come in. So Vivekananda came in and he told the same thing to him. He said, it is your responsibility to lead all these people, to make sure these people will not go out of the path that I have shown and would not return to the home, which means those who are monks, etc., they don't return to their home. It is your responsibility. You lead them. And my spirit will always be with you. My power, I have given you everything, my everything. So I will lead you. You lead them. This is a clear message. Even then, Vivekananda got so much opposition from his own people. Can you imagine what amount of disturbance Vivekananda's mind would have undergone when this happened? You may think that Sthitaprajnas and realized people don't have such disturbances in their mind. See, yes, they don't, but ultimate way they don't. When they are working for example, you are there working in a big company. Now, as an officer of that big company, when you are in the room of that officer, when the people under your charge are not up to the mark, you have to and you have given them repeated warnings, etc., and still they are not working properly. They're not taking the work seriously, and thereby your company is losing, and thereby you are not able to give your best from your department. What would you do? You would be angry on them, and you would scold them. You would be tensed, and you would behave just like any other officer, right? But once you come home, when you see your family, and when you go to a movie with your family, or when your relatives have come to the home, and like that, you are not thinking about the company's work. If you understand work-life balance, you're not thinking about the work, or you are not the same person that was in the office. So you have these two personalities, right? Therefore, it is very important to understand that all Avatara Purushas, like Vivekananda and Ramakrishna, etc., they are definitely divine and they have this human element also. And as humans, they sincerely undergo this suffering. Any suffering that you hear about, that they have suffered, you read about their sufferings, that is just like our own suffering. Okay. For example, in that case, then physically, I think you understand. Like if somebody hits Vivekananda physically, or if Vivekananda undergoes some accident or falls down from a motorcycle. By the way, he tried a motorcycle which was invented at about that point of time in London, I think. So if he fell off from there, then he would actually get the same kind of injuries that we all get, right? So this argument that they should not have suffered is not valid, because they suffer as human. As much as they have the human element, they suffer. And as much as they have the divine element, they don't suffer. Always this divine element would be superior in their system than this. But while they are behaving and thinking like humans in this world, working like this, etc., they would have all the same feelings. So my question is, do you think how difficult that would have been on Vivekananda's part to see that his own brother disciples are disowning him publicly? And of course, later on they have patched up, because they also sincerely, slowly, gradually understood what Vivekananda was saying. Slowly, gradually understood what Vivekananda was saying actually is rooted in what Sri Ramakrishna said, and that was what is Ramakrishna's mission. So then they have, what, this Baburam Maharaj, this Premanandaji, went to all the houses that he earlier went, and he personally apologized to them and said that no, Vivekananda is the same Vivekananda. We were under some, we were under a wrong impression. I am very sorry that we have said this earlier, but he is our dear brother, and whatever he is saying is Sri Ramakrishna's message, in fact. So this happened. It's a very short time, but it happened. All of this happened. Similarly, what I'm trying to say is, Vivekananda went away in 1902 from his physical frame. After that, the society has changed a lot. When Vivekananda was there, the society was extremely poor and extremely in a very pathetic condition. So Vivekananda had to talk about this poorest and meanest, etc., all of that. But when he saw rich people, his quotes on rich people, right? So he said, bring light to the poor, but bring more light to the rich, for the vanities of riches are varied and very deep. He also said that, has there been any mention in the history that great works have been done by the rich? No, it is always by the poor, people who are struggling, etc., etc. Therefore, what I'm trying to say is, what I'm saying today may not be seen as what Vivekananda has said clearly, but if you have developed a fresh approach to Vivekananda, and if you have, for example, there is a movie called Passion of the Christ. Please watch that movie. Mel Gibson, I think, was the director. So he has shown that movie in such a wonderful way that what was the need for Jesus to undergo all such pain? Why was he doing it? He was a person. Any human being would have been afraid. And he was also a human being. He was also the combination of the divine and human. Okay. All of that is wonderfully shown in that movie. You have to see that movie as a meditative practice. Okay. In the same way, he has undergone all that pain, but he has stood for the principles. He says to the king who told him that I have the power over you to commute the sentence. These people are cruel. I don't agree with these people, but they want you to die on the cross by crucifixion. I don't think that is necessary. I don't think you are such a bad person. But I have power over you. You say one word that is what you want, and I will pardon. He was already blooded all over his body, and he was punished a lot. He was in chains, this man, Christ, Jesus. He says to him, you have no power over me except what has been given from above. This is Sukshma Drishti. There is Sthula Drishti and there is Sukshma Drishti. Spirituality means Sukshma Drishti. Now, for that king, to that king and to all the people who were shouting for Christ's crucifixion, it was all gross drishti. It was all sthula drishti. They could not understand what he was saying. But this Jesus was also in the same world, but he had the sukshma drishti. He is talking about something sukshma, something subtle, much subtler than what people can recognize. This king understood he was a great person, but he knew if he did not do what the people are asking in the overwhelming majority, he would lose power himself. He could not afford that. And very reluctantly, he had to sentence Jesus. But later on, he was always regretting his decision and judgment. Why I was talking about this is, in the same way, if you read Vivekananda, there is this passion of Vivekananda. If just like in the movie Passion of the Christ, you are able to picturize what Vivekananda was all about in his short life of 39 years. If you are able to somehow catch that heart of Vivekananda, that passion of Vivekananda, why he underwent so much suffering and struggle, and why did he do all of that? Did somebody ask him? Did somebody give him money? It was not easy at all. He had lots of people who distractors. He had people who wanted him dead. He had a whole British government that was waiting with their spies around him to see when he would do some mistake, we would commit some mistake, and he could be put in prison. He had his own disciples turning on him and talking nonsense about him, which are lies also, including lies, and misunderstanding him. His own children, disciples means his children only. He loved them so much. But so many people, I can make a list, I don't remember now, but I can make a list of those names. They have turned against him and they have misunderstood him. They went far away also. So many failures and successes were there. But he nevertheless was able to set in motion. See, this is what he says. My whole ambition in life is to set in motion a machinery which will bring noble ideas to the door of everybody. So that machinery, it was so difficult for him to organize, and he shed his sweat and blood for this machinery to be set in motion. Today, the society changed drastically from a slave India to a politically free India, and to now slowly ideologically free India. The society has changed a lot. The standard of living of people has come up. So accordingly, we in this machinery that Vivekananda has founded, has set in motion, has to be able to think like Vivekananda, and see what today is our duty and review what our duty is today. For that, the qualification is that we should also have the passion of Vivekananda inside us. Passion will be the same. The degree may be lower than Vivekananda's the degree of passion he had. We may not have that degree of passion inside us, the degree of fire inside us. But nevertheless, we should be able to be sure and proud also that as his children, we are able to have that passion, and we can see what is right from wrong, and we can see what is required from not required, and how much is required and why it is required to the present society. From here, where should it go? This machinery that Vivekananda started ought to be able to stand as a rock when the society is flowing like a river. Stand as a rock and not just get flooded or go with the flow, but stand as a rock and show the direction. This is the direction you have to take. Hey society, this is truth. Any society, like famous Vivekananda saying, truth does not pay homage to any society, ancient or modern. Society has to pay homage to truth or die. So this is truth. We need to be able to point out where is the truth, and this is where we are going. This is the final destiny. This is where you are. This is where we were, and this is where we need to go, and this is how you need to go. We need to be able to show to the society. This is the directorial role we need to play as part of this machinery that Vivekananda set in motion. For that, we need to be practical, immensely practical also. For that, we need to put our heart first. The Vivekananda says, I need head to think, heart to feel, hand to work, the skill. So between these three, heart must be there. Heart will decide to what extent we need to do. Head will decide what is logical end for all this work. Is it that this whole world and society must always be in struggle mode, or is there ever a point wherein we don't need to struggle? Is there ever a point where we don't need to struggle any further? We can achieve a point of completion, wherein afterwards only sustaining that completion point is our goal, which is a far easier task than we are all having today. So what I'm trying to say is, just like Vivekananda was misunderstood, that he was not talking what Sri Ramakrishna was talking when he said all the modern things and do the service kind of thing, etc. Today, what I'm trying to say, or people like me are trying to say, may look like, sound like not what Vivekananda said, but they are. Now, for us to be able to prove that to you, for us to be able to verify rationally, we need to be able to talk. For us to be able to talk, we need free speech. We also need a welcoming heart and welcoming approach, the Shraddha and humility that is required to hear people out. Sitting face to face and rationally so. If something is not rational, okay, fine. If something, we need not consider that. But if something is not, and also if something is not practical, that is also fine. If something is not according to the ideals, if it is found that it is not according to the ideals of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, that is also fine. If we ultimately find out that that is what is being suggested. But to say, just because you are a young chap, or you are junior most or not senior enough, to even talk in front of us. And therefore, you are not even worth our time for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, or whatever it may take. That is, to put it mildly, that is, I cannot put it mildly. I have only one word. It is arrogance. I can also sense that it is also the helplessness and hopelessness that you have accumulated over years of and decades of watching people do negative things and having to support them and avoid all problems, etc., etc. This prioritizing that we need to be clean and we need to be able to sustain ourselves for a long time in the survival mode. Like we are all in survival mode. We are not thriving or there is no vigor or anything like that. But we are all in survival mode and we are looking after our own mukti, etc. This much we are able to do well. Yes, I agree. So let us do this much and let us see who will come, and we wait for people who are like, Ranganathanandaji or such people, etc. For them, we will stay as platforms so that they can live amongst us, the pure souls. And we can provide holy company, and we can also benefit from their company. People who will come in the future with lots of the fire, the amount of fire that Vivekananda wanted us, expected from us. So let us be the breeding ground, or a base, like a military base. This is also a pious, holy base for few people, avatars who might come, and that is all our work is. We can be only like that. We cannot risk doing anything other than what is tried and tested. And because of that, we cannot listen to you. This is what I think. If this could be the best reason why that kind of attitude has developed. The worst reasons could be other things. So what I'm saying is that is very, very disappointing, highly disappointing, and it cannot give anything good. It cannot bring anything good out of this machinery. So the good thing that I was able to do, I'm not saying I want credit or anything like that. It happened, that's all. The good thing is that once I resigned from that machinery and then had to think everything afresh, I found a philosophy that has the capacity, not only capacity, the plan and blueprint also, how we can make this very planet into whatever Vivekananda wanted, which is harmonious in every dimension. Advaita, when expressed, when manifest in physical world, means harmony in every dimension of living. Every human being is living in an individual dimension, in a family dimension, in a societal dimension, and with nature. So in all these levels, if there is harmony within oneself, within the human relationships, and within the society, community relationships, and in the political sphere, economic sphere, educational sphere, religious sphere, etc. In all these kind of dimensions, if we have a model, a system, principles that are operating, if we are able to discover the principles that lead only to harmony, that are rational, that are naturally acceptable to all people, if we have that kind of a darshana, that is also practical and not just theoretical. That vehemently, that very enthusiastically includes the Jagat also in this triad, like Brahman and Jiva and Jagat also, and does not distinguish uh, between materiality and spirituality, etc., etc. Approaches everything with the Shraddha. Not laughing at anything. Like, for example, like we sometimes in our narratives we laugh at people who are married, or who are not like us, who are not abstaining from sex or anything like that. We laugh at them, right? Or we think less of others just because so-called they're so-called worldly or anything like that. So that kind of instead of that kind of approach, if we have the approach that we are seeing only nothing but Virat Swarup of the Brahman, of God, of Sri Ramakrishna, then we will be able to solve the problem that is there, every problem that is there in front of us. Then we will be able to make Vivekananda proud. But I recognize this is quite subtle, and this looks like first world problems for many people, like as if I am talking about some first world problem. The reason is the drishti itself is either selfish or not. You have a selfish drishti, or you don't have a selfish drishti. Selfish drishti with selfish drishti, if you look at this whole problem, so all of these things, you think what is important is my mukti. And for my mukti, I want great guru and all of that. We find Ramakrishna and God, we understand harmony, everything is good. So a guru will give us mantra. We repeat that mantra. We practice meditation, and we go about our business, and we will be finally mukta. We will be free of all these contaminations in this world. Okay? Now, because Vivekananda manifested a lot of sentiment and feeling for the other people and this world, there are so many already established institutions which are run by society's money. We just become some officers in those institutions by the day, and by evening and by morning and by the night, we are our own secluded sadhus who are thinking about the mukti only, our own mukti only. If we are able to, because anyway we cannot meditate all 24 hours a day, if we are able to do some service with sincerity, without any corruption, in the register we can write that we have been serving the society, tick mark. We have distributed khichdi, tick mark. We are successfully and without fail running all these hospitals and schools and Institute of Languages and self help or what do you say, human excellence courses, etc. We have done that also, and we are doing our spiritual practices also, that is traditionally there. Therefore we are practical Vedantis. If you say that, if you pat on your back yourself by comparing yourself with other institutions, you declare that you are the best institution in this world. Therefore there is nothing anybody can point out or anybody can improve in this. We are just we are just having lukewarm spirit. Always our comparison must be with ideal, what ought to be, not what the others are doing. Yes, I agree. If you compare with the others, what we are doing is excellent, incomparable, very, very good, first class. best, yes, but that is not enough, because the ideal is not, that is not the ideal. Why is so much suffering today in this world? What are the problems of today's world? All peoples, poor people, rich people, middle class people, urban people, rural people, Indians, Eastern people, Western people, everybody, of all religions. What are the difficulties? What are the problems in this world today? Is there not suffering in this world today? Why must suffering exist? Why can't there be continuous harmony? And do you think this is how the earth will be after 100 years, 200 years, 500 years also? No. What kind of role should we play in taking the earth forward to a point where our evolution, our development on this earth is also can be declared as complete evolution? And all the people can. For example, what I'm trying to say is, when a person joins an institution like this machinery that Vivekananda has founded, that person understands, sees everybody around, the system he observes, and then however like he was earlier, he would change. And it would be very easy for that person to come and adjust. It might take a little time, but easily that person will adjust to the punctuality, to the discipline, and to the lifestyle, and falls in the line in the nice system that is already built in this machinery in the name of Ramakrishna. Similarly, if we are able to build a system, develop a village or 2 or 10 villages with 1,000 people each, wherein people are self-sufficient, people do not cheat others, you don't need to get cheated, you don't need to be always on a high alert that I should not be exploited, I should not exploit, or there is no mental slavery also in those villages. All women, men, children, elderly, all of them can live in a harmonious way. Because Naradeva Deva, Jaya Jaya Naradeva, that is what Vivekananda described Sri Ramakrishna as. So, keeping human being, Naradeva means human being. So, keeping that humanity in the center, not God or not matter, but the humanity in the center, making humanity as the basis of looking at anybody or anything, because all men, women, children, elderly, all of these are human beings, respecting each human being, and understanding that everybody cannot be a monastic member ultimately, but every home or village can become an ashram if we try enough, for enough time. That is possible, but everybody becoming a monastic is not needed also. Not just not possible, but not even needed. Because monasticism is only a temporary thing. If society is not able to take care of itself, monks become catalysts in the society, and they let the society go to where it has to go. But monks are temporary. Monks have only temporary role in this whole society. Therefore, are we able to build such a system and show such villages, 10 villages or 15 villages like that, of 1,000 people each, wherein people join of any sanskara, they come and join, and they can understand within a few days that there is no corruption here, there is no injustice here, everything is taken care of, every kind of human life, every kind of human endeavor is done with a proper and right approach, that all our basic expectations as human beings are met in the proper way, much unlike this world today. And we want this whole world to become like this, with self-governance and all of that. If we are able to do that, and if the whole world, the whole humanity will be able to live in such perfect system in, say, 300 to 400 years from now, then I think we will have achieved what Vivekananda or Ramakrishna's purpose of coming to earth is. When Vivekananda said Ramakrishna's appearance on earth is the beginning of the golden age. No, what is that golden age? Where is that golden age? Are you seeing that golden age? Just being, we are all living in a well and then thinking that this world is, very, we are known all over the world, etc. Nobody knows outside the gate. Outside your gate, 9 people out of 10 people don't even know who you are. 1 person knows who you are, that's all. Half person understands a little. Quarter person cares a little. Less than that, people might involve, that's all. Nobody knows, nobody cares about us. We are just another sect. That is what we have become, unfortunately, which Vivekananda would detest. Therefore, my appeal is that if we are humble enough, if we are able to talk and discuss Vivekananda's ideas on public fora, only then, if we are able to support this free speech, where Vivekananda clearly says, if caste or no caste, creed or no creed, any man or class or caste or nation or institution which bars the power of free thought and action of an individual, even so long as that power does not injure others, is devilish and must go down. Then we will go down. If we are not able to be open to dialogue, be willing to listen to people who read the same Vivekananda's works, but who may be junior in age and in experience, whatever. So the ideas may be silly sometimes. But unless we regularly do that intellectual work, allow people to grow. See, you think that only when people are considered and renowned as intellectuals, only they should speak, the others should just keep quiet. That is quite an elitist view, which Vivekananda would detest, would not agree with. While, unless there is a challenge to people's thoughts, they would not develop themselves also. So, this freedom of speech and thought and action of an individual must be seriously reviewed. This is what I wanted to tell. Thank you for listening. I know most people will not come to this far. Most people will not even click on this video. No problem. I do not think that